So I don't have that kind of physical strength. So my strength is either spiritual or intellectual. So while from primary school, I could borrow books from friends, all those story books, and I started reading them. They will have the book, but they won't. So I'm the one that...
You don't have the book, but you read them. You started very early in your career.
Yes.
You started writing.
Yes.
Started associating.
Yes.
So if I may ask, what factors really, looking down the road, 30 years ago, 31, what factors can you say account for your success story at this point? It's another beautiful day, another beautiful episode of the Community Pharmacy Accelerator Show. Welcome, viewers, to this wonderful episode. It's another time, another moment to learn, unlearn, and relearn. What's the goal? To get better in our community pharmacy practice. And we are taking it from another dimension today, and we are looking at the benefits of reading, writing, and the power of association towards achieving business success, towards achieving practice success in community pharmacy. And no other person fits into the shoes than my highly cerebral and avid reader guest. I'll let him introduce himself. Welcome to today's episode. It's a pleasure having you on the show, and I'd like to welcome you. I'd like you to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity. There come a time like this when we have opportunity to say a few things. But like you said, let me start by saying who I am. I'm Ngozi Augustine Okoronkwo. All those names, they are very, very significant in different levels. So that's my name. Do I continue?
Well, tell us, it's good to know that we have, it seems you have names for every milestone.
Yes.
All right, you also tell us about
all those names.
Days of in practice.
Yes, all those names. There's a lot of things. Yes, I'm a pharmacist. I graduated from the University of Benin. After that, I did my internship in Pfizer Product PLC, because these are some of the areas that's what you are talking about, where I started, getting a lot of trainings and exposure that changed a lot of things about me. Naturally, we are from the East. So, but when I went to school in the South, that's Benin, and then also in Lagos. Even before then, I've done a program they call IT, or look like residency now. We do it in event for 6 months. So I worked with Julie Pharmacy. Every pharmacist knows Julius Adeluyi. I stayed in his place and then practiced for some time. I learned a lot of things, read a lot of things about him. So when you talk about motivation and inspiration, these are some of the things that influenced my life. Then while in the University of Benin, there's this first dean we had called L.I.L. Ndika, Lawrence Ndika is from the Igbo, Delta, very renowned pharmacologist, but very, very versatile. They are the group of people, but there are 3 of them, one from law, still there in Lagos, and another one from, I think, engineering or whatever. 2 of them gave Alele William, who was our VC at a particular time, because these are sound intellectuals. So you draw inspiration from people of knowledge and people who want to show society where to go. After my internship, I went to work as a copper in Kwara State, in Jeba. It's an industry, one of the foremost paper mill industry in Nigeria, Nigerian paper mill. I was the first pharmacist to work in that establishment. But also I was doing some work for the local government, and I was a copper liaison officer. Of course, at the end of the day, I won the award for that year, both in the local governments and in the state. So I was headhunted then, because I was already making some waves, both as a student and copper and anything. So some senior pharmacists in the industry, multinational, one in Boringa and then one in Pfizer, they, thought it wise to, bring him on board. Though like many of you are coming up, some people are say, I want to work with this young man, So that's how I entered Community Pharmacists. The plan was to put this young man here and then give him all the necessary support. But things are not always the way they are. I was excited, they gave me at the first time 25%. And they shared 75% equity. And we started off. That what lured me into, because my plan originally was do a red job, do all the normal thing a young pharmacist would want to do. But that's how I entered Community Pharmacists. But as things change because of the government at that time, that was a period of IBB's structural adjustment and all that. So things were not moving. The industry started having challenges. So all the plans they had could not work. But I have already entered. And then that's also what led me to, when God wants to guide your life, like we are saying, I entered a fellowship that was called Full Gospel Businessman Fellowship. So when people look at me the way they do, that is really, I started those entrepreneurship in Community Pharmacists. This one also came. So I was in two worlds, doing pastoral work.
From the foundation of who you are today.
That is what I'm trying to say.
As, some people even think you're a pastor.
Yes.
We know you to be in the fellowship of
Yes.
pharmacists
Yes.
as a leader.
Yes.
We also know you to
yes.
be a pharmacist
Yes.
and the fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society
yes.
of Nigeria. And, so far, like how many years have you put into pharmacy?
That's what I'm saying. Immediately I came out, that was 92.
Okay.
That's when I did my internship. That's when I won all those awards. So I came into Community Pharmacy with these arrangements.
That's about 30.
Yes. So we started doing it. And that's also when I became the president. If you know, there's a hotel here, a popular hotel where full gospel people meet. So I became one of those, just like Rotary and all this organization, a leader.
Almost
president of an organization like that. So that helped to shape, I started organizing men, I started doing so many things with the base in my community pharmacies, because that time, community pharmacies gives you some cash, so all the men around, they look up to me, the local government, everywhere. I was like a star. I was a council in the Eze Palace. I was a noted member. I was secretary of head committee. So I was like, even at a particular time, I was appointed as a consultant. When people talk about consultants, as young as then, I was consultant to the local government. I was what they call resident pharmaceutical consultant to the local government. At a particular time, I was special assistant to the commissioner for education and later commissioner for
we'll come back to that.
all those kind of things.
We'll
Yes.
commercial break.
Yes.
Let's get to I'll tell you about those behind the program we're having and those who are really supporting us on this program. So when we're back, we'll still tell you some more about our guest for today.
This episode is supported by the Elbon Pharmaceutical Limited, a wholesale community pharmacy with a proven culture of integrity, quality, timeliness, and customer-oriented services. Situated at 51C Emekuku Street D-Line, Port Harcourt, River State. For orders and inquiries, please call our customer service numbers on 0817 168 2673 or 080-331-08325.
Welcome back, viewers. We were just talking to our guest, Pharmacist Ngozi Okoronkwo. He's here with us, and he was just telling us, his journey into the world of pharmacy, his triumphant start, and of course, he has not stopped. He's still doing great. He's a man who believes in people, who believes in association. Sir, just before we went on break, you were talking about the early part of your career, where you even worked as, where you were in the hot cake, you could say, and you even worked as a special advisor to the Commissioner of Education. What was that experience for you? I mean, how has it been, pharmacy practice?
Well, we're talking about power of association. The community pharmacy avails you of opportunity, time. The greatest thing you have in this life is time. You know, when you work in other establishment like hospital, industry, there's no time. You are hitting your target or not. But like I told you how I started, some people who believed in me, because of the antecedents while in school and, a little bit, gave me opportunity to be a CEO of a pharmacy. So while there, like I said, the local government opportunity came. While there, I was doing a lot of training, teaching, talking to schools and a lot of things, and also reaching out through the fellowship. So it was like, there has come a young man with opportunity. So those relationship leveraged on when a friend was made a commissioner for education, he brought me in. So you can see me dissecting files, Some files are taken to me. Like I remember one of those problems, the Abia State University was having problem. That was in Abia State then. I was the one that, recommended a lot of things which the commissioner acted on. So a number of issues like that, I guide him, we discuss, we share ideas, advise him on issues and a lot of things, and bring in. And I can tell you that when I came over to Port Harcourt, it's part of the, facility he, allowed me to have, because there was a supply he facilitated for me. The profit thereon is what I used to start when I really relocated to Port Harcourt. So you can see that sometimes leveraging on politics and relationships will facilitate what we do in the community pharmacy. So I'm a practical example of that. The relationship I had while in school and out of school enabled me to, fast track entering into community pharmacy, because, there's no money then. Imagine 1992, how many people can have up to 20, 30,000 naira? But because of that relationship, I was allowed to come in. Then later, they told me what my equity, which families helped me to pay into. So the business ran until I relocated, because it was obvious that the environment I was cannot. That's the problem with the community pharmacy in the local area. So the capacity, the business volume could not be sustained. So that's one of the reasons why I made me to relocate to a bigger town like Port Harcourt over time. So
you just said something that struck me. You have a story of someone whose diligence, whose humble disposition from school, early career, launched him to access something that he has used that's formed the foundation for his practice for these 30 years. I don't know if this is a better explanation or a way to explain a bit of the story. We have not even gone deep.
You are not going deeper. When you go deep, I'll tell you all that.
And already I can see that we're talking about your reading and writing and the power of association. It's like you started very early in your career.
Yes.
You started writing.
Yes.
You started associating.
Yes.
So if I may ask, what factors really, looking down the road, 30 years ago, 31, what factors can you say account for your success story at this point?
Well, I have to go down memory lane. Yes. I told you that my names are Ngozi.
Very true. Blessing, right?
I happen to be the last child of my parents, and they were looking for a female. And when there was already an existing name for the female, so the female now came.
Okay, I see that. They wanted a female, but they didn't see a female, but they insisted that name was good.
So that is
blessing
it.
Had come.
And again, my mother was also told that, during those days, I think my mother was getting to 40, 50 when, of course, when he almost finished and suddenly found out that she was pregnant. So she was, like Mary, was thinking what to do with this. Wow. So another friend of hers in the market, because my mother was a very busy, business-minded person. So friend was there. Don't do anything, this child is blessing, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So the name was already there. So that's why I said other names are Augustine. Of course, we are originally Anglican. So, Windows, they gave you a name. I wouldn't know what that would mean, but it means a lot in the theology of the Christians.
Augustine
Saint Augustine.
A good story.
Yes.
So he was a stubborn person.
Yes.
But he had a good story.
Yes. So also the Ihan Ichukwu there means a lot because it means God, with God, all things. Because God, there's nothing God cannot do. So that was my traditional name given me by my parents. Then the other Amefle is my father's name. Because my father was the only son. But somehow along the line, he married 2 wives. So we were 12. 6 from this side, 6 from this side.
Wonderful.
Although we have lost some of them, about 2 or 3 in the last 4 or 5 years. So we are still about 12, I think 9 or 12 now. So these are some of those things you were asking about. I found out that early in my life, there are some each things favor God has given me. There are some things that, I'm not quite strong. Because if you see I am now, you can imagine how I was during those days. I was just this tiny kind of person. So I don't have that kind of physical strength. So my strength is either spiritual or intellectual. So while from primary school, I could borrow books from friends, all those story books, and I started reading them. They will have the book, but they won't. So I'm the one that...
You don't have the book, but you read them.
I borrow the books.
Read.
I borrow the books and tell them what is in that book. And they'll be excited. Of course, they know me as a storyteller, so I will always gather more stories. So when we get to secondary school, I read Things Fall Apart, Eze Goes to School, all those books, any literature. Even though I have that inclination for science, but I will read Elechi Amade, I will read all those things. And when I tell my friend the story, they'll be excited, and I'll teach them too, because I'll solve mathematics and share with everybody. So that sharpened my own capacity to do more. So quite early, I knew that my strength is in reading and teaching people. And again, later, I now found God, because that's a very good factor. So immediately I finished secondary school, of course, JAMB was not easy then. I was the best student when I finally finished Wilcox Memorial Secondary School, Aba.
So what was the name of the school?
Wilcox Memorial Secondary School. Wilcox Memorial Secondary School. I was here there. I was the best student, but JAMB was a little problem. I couldn't enter because then everybody wanted to study medicine, so it was not easy. So my senior brother is a medical doctor, so he insisted I follow along. But I have this inclination for reading and writing, which is law and what? Journalism. So, but one day he called me. I said, look, if you go into law, can you lie? If you go into journalism, won't hunger kill you? Because, during those days, thank God, journalism has changed now. But during those days, so when my JAMB result came, it was Pharmacist and the University of Benin, of course, I took the opportunity. And while at the University of Benin, I found out also that shortly before I entered, there's a program I did, during those JAMB days, gap days, I got admission at what they call Produce School of Technology in Umuahia. Shortly we were talking about Umuahia. So Umuahia was like a home. So for 1 or 2 years where I was trying to get this JAMB thing, so I got a diploma certificate in produce, in agriculture, all these export products, cocoa and all those things. So it was why there also that I encountered this my Lord Jesus Christ, one Omopai crusade in Umuahia Stadium. So that excitement carried me into the university. So in the university, I learned also, apart from reading literature, to read the Bible. So when you talk about success factors, so I can tell you that I read the Bible over and over again. A pharmacy student, but I love the Bible. So if I wasn't those kind of classical students, like my classmates, I can mention their names, would say it was because I had a new love or whatever in reading the Bible. So that enabled me to, at the end of the day, become a president of Baptist Student Fellowship. I'm a Baptist. So I ended up becoming, and again, we started this Christian Pharmacist Fellowship. I was also the pioneering president before I now went into the other side. So these are things that have continued, whether I call it 30 or 40 years over the time, which I keep on practicing, and it's taking me to places all around.
So, I was going to ask you, but I'll still ask you this question. So, in these 31 years, how has reading, writing, and association benefited your practice. I know you have said some bit of it at the beginning of your career, but do you think it's something that you would recommend for a young pharmacist or a pharmacist in community pharmacy setting? How would this benefit? How has it benefited you, and how would it benefit the community pharmacist?
You know, the core of this discourse is how to improve pharmacy practice.
Very true.
You know, pharmacists do a lot of work, but they are not known. And if you are not known, your contribution, even the Bible says it, a poor man did something and nobody recognized him. You know, you can be the best, but if you're not known, nobody will recognize you are there. So I found out that a pharmacist and a medical doctor or a lawyer comes out of school. Over time, the other two are recognized, pharmacist left behind. But at the crux of it is that pharmacist got so engrossed with his business and he doesn't upgrade himself. That's where reading becomes. Because reading has a way of broadening your horizon, and society will now recognize you. Like I was telling you, I was known in the Eze Palace. And that's why recognitions come. I was known in the town, I was known everywhere. And so recognitions come. I didn't tell you, I'm also, maybe you are talking about fellowship of FPSM, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. I'm also a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management. And although I've not been inducted, so I'm waiting for induction at the right time, you know. I'm also a fellow of West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacy. Of course, if we might discuss that, I'm also, I'm just waiting to defend my thesis, you know, in public health and health economics. I'm waiting, you know, any moment from now I'll be called upon. So over time, you find out that when you study and you discuss with somebody and he knows, you know, this man can contribute, they put you in committees. I told you I'm a special assistant to a commissioner. I was a resident consultant. These things didn't come, you know, by giving paracetamol and paracetamol.
Have no business.
Yes, but these things are discussed somewhere else. Yes. When somebody has said, "Oh, this man can do it," even in your village, in community, anywhere. When people see that this man has idea, of course, Francis Bacon says, "Reading maketh a man. Writing, exact man. Conference, a ready man." So if you dissect that statement, if you read, you broaden your horizon. You know, you can talk a lot of psychology, you can talk a lot of physiology, you can talk a lot about philosophy, you can talk a lot about agriculture. And then these people are the people that make up the society: accounting, finance. And this is the kind of thing where leadership comes in. And that's what grooms a leader, a versatile person who can fit into the society. So these are the things that have shaped my, even in the church, anywhere. When I'm a man of ideas, like my mentor, Kutu, I worked in Julie, one of past president of a PSN. You know, one of the things Julie said that where a man of idea is, that's the head table. And let me explain that. You know, if you come to a meeting and they are talking and you raise up your hand, they say, "Oh yeah, can we listen to you?" You say something. Next meeting again, you raise up your hand. Maybe you are standing at the back. Anytime they say, "Okay, Oga, do you have anything to say?" They have transferred that. The head table can be here, but there. They say, "Hey, that Baba that says something. Can you have anything to us?" That's actually the head table. You know. So over time, we find out that as we start reading, the pharmacist will just end up with his first degree. The doctor has done his fellowship, has done a lot. And so the society recognizes him as a consultant. And that's why now that we want to answer consultancy, it looks like, why are you people coming? You know, because when you advise a doctor, whether in the community or anywhere, he will take that idea. He knows that this man has impacted on me. So one of the things that put us down is knowledge. And thank God for the new focus. Both doctor of pharmacy, West African postgraduate, and people who do higher degrees. He has lifted the pharmacies from where we used to be to the climax. And very soon we'll have a governor. Okay, we had one already. A governor, have a president who is a pharmacist. So these are some of the things I've seen in my practice that, yes, we are doing the work, but beyond societies or groups where you belong, even when we started this farm, putting the farm in our name, people call it with pride because they know that this man can contribute. But if you're a farmer and you don't contribute, they will look down on you.
You've just said it. It gives you an edge. It takes you. It makes you a rallying point. you are a pharmacist, but the more you read, the more you write, the more you confront, then you find out that you you can be a part of the discourse, even outside the pharmacy sphere. And the associations that you can get from being a valuable part of the discussion outside the pharmacy sphere can earn you some reward that can even take your practice far higher than your contemporaries. So every success of a pharmacist must not always come from the pharmacy sector. Is that something?
That's what I said. Some of my big clients are either from, the political circle, from the fellowship, from the church setting, from the community. You find out some highly placed persons. Whenever they need pharmaceutical services, they call you either in the night or send a text. You deliver, and you earn some core income. That's ordinarily.
But they came not necessarily because they first met you as a pharmacist, but from other interactions outside pharmacy.
Even from abroad, there are some families you service. Their relations, those who know you all over the world, you service their relation back. On Saturday, I'll be in a friend's village to do a medical outreach, which is also one of the things we do. He sponsored it. So my duty is to gather other medical, experts. Then we'll go to his village and then do that medical outreach. I've been doing this of course, I'm a public health person.
Okay, we'll go on another short break. And when we come back, we will be hearing Pharmacist Ngozi Okoronkwo delve deep into the power of association as part of this discourse. Don't go away.
This episode is supported by Pharm Pharmaceutical Limited, a wholesale community pharmacy with a proven culture of integrity, quality, timeliness, and customer-oriented services. Situated at 51C Emekuku Street D-Line, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. For orders and inquiries, please call our customer service numbers on 0817 168 2673 or 080 331 08325.
Okay, so welcome back, our viewers. We're still talking with the man of so many parts, the avid reader, Pharmacist Ngozi Okoronkwo, and he's been telling us a lot about his journey into the pharmacy profession, highly empowered and enabled by his love for reading, writing, and the power of association. And he has been telling us how relevant, we've been able to establish how relevant association beyond pharmacy can be for someone in business. And at this point, I'd like to ask you, sir, you've been associated with so many groups. You want to share with us some of these groups that have shaped your life as a person, that has shaped your practice as a pharmacist, that has made you who you are today, that you would like to recommend for other pharmacists and other business people watching this episode?
Thank you so much. Any person that wants to read will know that newspaper is no longer available now, but some of us started with newspapers. Every day, even to today, if you go to my office now, you see Guardian. And Guardian is one of the foremost newspapers. I'll make sure I'll create time to it, because if something is important, when people say I have no time for something, I mean that thing is not important.
Not prioritized.
It's not important. But I believe that the acquired knowledge is important, so I create time. When I got married, one of the problems we have is my wife feels that the book is the first love.
Oh my God.
So, because I must spend time to read. But now she's also joined, because she now become privileged information person, that kind of thing. I remember when we went to Burkina Faso, and they was telling me something that happened about the speaker of a house of rep or something. And I was busy telling people. So when I came back, I found it was wrong. I was very angry with her. I said, see, you are telling me the wrong thing, and I was quoting it.
Oh.
So when people get the right information from you, they regard you highly. So what I'm trying to say is reading newspapers, subscribing to journals, and all those kind of association helps. But to nail it down, like you said, quite early, apart from in the campus, as I said, I was a member of Baptist Student Fellowship, because it's good to know Christian groups like students pharmacists, and it's good to join group. Thank God for Christian Pharmacist Fellowship has also started. It helped me also. Then when I came out, like I said, apart from my church, as I told you, I'm a Baptist, I'm a very good member of my church, a very influential member for that matter. Then I joined the Full Gospel Businessmen Fellowship International. And quite early I became a president, so I'm very up in the ladder of the leadership. And it's from there that I gained some of the experiences that I used in the Christian Pharmacist Fellowship of Nigeria. Because I was the first chapter president here in Port Harcourt in 2000, 2001, 2002. Because the first chapter started in Lagos in 2000. So we came here to Port Harcourt in 2001 and started a chapter. I was the president till 2005 when I became the assistant secretary to the last registrar, Mohammed. Mohammed was secretary. I was the assistant secretary.
At the national level.
National level. Chapter president Port Harcourt, later assistant secretary, national level. So when Mohammed started, after being secretary to Mohammed, I was another assistant secretary to another, another secretary, because then it was Lagos that was the secretariat. But when the other man finished, of course, his name, Kunle Okelola, who was secretary, took over from Mohammed. He's a P-Man Jan secretary, PMG man secretariat.
PMG, that should be the manufacturing association.
So talking about network, because as you work with these men, you also
you get to meet
those
different
titans of industry. Through Okelola, I was his assistant, you know. So when I finished with Okelola, this thing now fell on me. I became the general secretary. So most of the network I have, in fact, I didn't need to say it, the closeness I have with Alpha Pharmacy, who is a pillar in the industry, started with, because he was the president of Christian Pharmacist Fellowship then. I was the secretary. So we became like, I don't know how to say it, brother and sister. Brother and brother. So we can eat together, we can do. And you can see me down there and see this man down there. But because of association, you know. So I also a member of Nigerian Institute of Management. I joined immediately I finished from the university in 1998 or thereabouts.
And I'm joining the Institute of Management. Does it have anything to do with your practice, your professional practice?
It's to learn the acts of management, managing people, and also to grow along and to broaden your horizon of network of, like the present governor of Rivers State. I'm going to meet him. I'll be there. Dr. Waga is a fellow. So it's like, you know, we are fellows of the pharmacy.
Okay, so these associations are even, you're joining these associations, you did them deliberately because it's taking you to, it's part of what you do, it's part of your profession, it's part of development. So association can be a tool for development, personal development.
Personal development. That's if an organization is working on what we call organized private sector.
Okay.
The one of the things they call it is to join organization. Because that's where the real training. And if as a pharmacist you don't go for meetings, conferences. No, I talk about I quoted Bacon.
That's true.
Talk about reading, right? The other one is conference. So those conferences are network of minds. They're kind of what you can read in 10 months or 10 years. In one conference, you get all the ideas. So if you go to a conference, you find out that you package knowledge. You can, at the beckon of, you can say something.
So are you saying those who don't attend conferences, are you saying they are losing out to something?
Deeply.
Oh my God.
They cannot really relate, certain things. One of the candidates that's making waves. I think your profile of university has gone, or city has gone.
Okay, let me take it there. We'll go on a quick commercial break now, and when we come back, we will talk a little more about this association. We'll just take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
This episode is supported by Pharm Pharmaceutical Limited, a wholesale community pharmacy with a proven culture of integrity, quality, timeliness, and customer-oriented services. Situated at 51C Emekuku Street D-Line, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. For orders and inquiries, please call our customer service numbers on 0817 168 2673 or 080331 08325.
Welcome back to the CP Accelerator show, and we are having it real hot, and we are really having great fun and learning from the man who embodies association, the great reader and writer pharmacist Ngozi Okoronkwo. And he was just, giving it to us, was feeding us with the benefits of association and how the kind of groups he has joined that has benefited him, the people he has met from these wonderful groups, and he has recommended these groups for you pharmacists out there to join. And he has also established how being a part of a group can also benefit you because you meet people who are part of other groups and they get to feed you with their experience and you get miles better than you are at the moment or you have ever been. And also he shed more light on the importance of conferencing. And he has also recommended this. And he has said, those who don't go for conferences, they miss a lot. I think I've been able to capture quite a couple of things you have said in a couple of minutes ago. So at this point, I'd like to say, what advice from your own personal experience do you have for community pharmacists out there? And perhaps I would say, for even the younger ones out there.
Yes. From my story, I started quite early.
Yes.
Patience is very, very important. And then doing things right is also very important. So, when I started, I came with all the good ways of my exploits.
Your younger days, yeah.
These things enhanced or it's enhancing because I'm still going.
That's true.
I'm still going. There's a lot of opportunities because if you prepare yourself, opportunities, they say luck is when preparation meets what? Opportunity. So if you prepare yourself, opportunities will come up. So some of us like us are preparing ourselves and prepare ourselves. Yeah. So community pharmacy offers you opportunity to prepare yourself. Go to school, educate yourself. Like I said, join groups. Be service oriented. Everything is not money. Money will come.
Sure.
But preparation and good name, goodwill will leverage you so that society, becomes on you as a solution provider. Immediately you're a solution provider, nothing is impossible. The money will work the way well. And so I encourage people like you, what you are doing. That's the first thing I say. This thing is a niche you are doing. Time will come. People will invite all over the world to come and do them. So young people, please learn to be patient. Somebody will recommend you somewhere. That person must have worked you must have done something that you think is insignificant, but he valued it. Say, there's a young man like this, go and look for him. Of course, we know the story of Joseph. People must talk about the Bible.
If I can claim my name too.
Something he did without knowing. Interpreting dream. Recommended him to fail. So that's the story I'm sharing. Yes, we need to work hard. There's no doubt. We need to work hard. But beyond hard work, there's a book written by John Maxwell says beyond talent. There are a lot of other issues at the back here that helps a young man to become a star in society. Some of them are networking, some of them are reading, some of them are writing. Don't shy away from when you are about to be a secretary of the organization. Secretary is a demanding job, but when you do it well, you are made. Today, people are struggling to be secretary to the government of Nigeria or secretary to the government of a state because the place of influence, all the files, all the documents are with you. Some secretary do all the job. What the president or the chairman does is have fun with it. So those jobs, and you can't do it without reading. All of them are entire because you will read to get the right language to put. If not, you keep on as a secretary
falling out of context.
Yes. So the right words. That's why I started with newspapers, journals, and everything. So you must be editors, but then you become an editor. I thought that in school because I was part of the editorial board of a magazine. So you get involved in those kind of things, and gradually then you become a star. You look for it, and then be ready to impact. Share your knowledge. Don't be stingy with knowledge because knowledge is like wealth. The more you give out, the more you get. So that's what I can say
Wow. Another wonderful time, another gainful moment. And I'm sure you out there watching, you have been blessed. You have really gotten something today. We have talked about reading, writing, and the power of association. And our guest, Pharmacist Ngozi Okoronkwo, has given us reasons beyond all reasonable doubt. He has convinced us. I believe you too have been convinced on why you should read beyond pharmacy, why you should write and share those experiences of yours, and why you should associate with like minds and the minds that will help you get to that big vision you have for your pharmacy practice, for your pharmacy business. It's been a wonderful time, and I must thank you, Pharmacist Ngozi Okoronkwo, for joining us today on the Community Pharmacy Accelerator show. We want to thank you and we want to wish you all the best, even as you continue to do exploits and as you continue to inspire the younger ones in some of the most easily neglected aspects of life, which actually form the bedrock of success in pharmacy practice and as a person. Thank you, viewers, for your time. We wish you all the best and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it and you learned something great. If you did, please drop a comment on the comment section. And if you have any question, feel free to post it on the comment section. Our resource persons will be available to provide answers to your questions. Remember to contact us for any inquiry, sponsorship, and advice via the contacts on your screen. Remember, until you take new and better actions, you will never see new and better results. Goodbye for now.